Most marriages don't fall apart due to one big betrayal. In fact, a lot of them end due to 1,000 small things that were never truly let go. And I'm talking a careless word here, a forgotten promise there, feeling unseen on a hard day. Each of these on their own don't really threaten the marriage. But over time, when they are not attended, when they're not truly forgiven, when healing doesn't truly take place and there is no clear closure, they accumulate. They don't disappear. In fact, they harden. And over time, what began as a hairline crack becomes something that threatens the very foundation of the marriage. Marcie and I, when we got married, we asked both of our mothers to give us advice separately. On 2 different days, within 2 different months, they weren't together. Surprisingly, both of our mothers from 2 different worlds, having had their own experience of joy and pain and challenges in marriage, arrived at the same word, forgiveness. Now, that is not coincidence. That is experience speaking. And the more I've sat with the word throughout our marriage, particularly in our contemporary world, the more I've come to recognize that we have underestimated, or we do underestimate, the power of forgiveness within marriage. Now, before I move on, and this is important, forgiveness is not to excuse what happened or the action that happened. No. To forgive for something is not to simply say, oh, it didn't matter, when it is truly bothering you within your heart. When we forgive, we are saying, I value us, meaning I value our oneness, our unity, our harmony, more than the wound I feel internally in my heart due to your action or inaction. So essentially, we're saying our oneness is more important to me than this pain. And so I'm willing to let this pain go to hold on to this oneness that we have. This is at the heart of forgiveness in marriage. It's a choice, and it's a conscious one at that. And it needs to be made over and over and over and over throughout the lifetime of the marriage. Not only during the hard and tough moments, but even those small, subtle, insidious moments that sometimes easily catch us unawares. You might think, it's just a little thing, it doesn't bother me, but it affects your mood. Months down the line, it's still bothering you. In our case, what is true for Marcie and I is that we started our marriage with a set of rare truths, treasures, and forgiveness has been one of them. Now, we haven't had any major problem that really pulled us apart. But like I said, even in the small things of the everyday life, this has become very powerful in our marriage. It's become precious to us. The voices of our mothers keep ringing in our hearts and in our minds. And we've come to acknowledge that we truly began with something rare. Even before we began our marriage, this was right at the beginning of our marriage, that both of our mothers acted as 2 witnesses from 2 different worlds, pointing to the same treasure. And this is the treasure of forgiveness. We live in a culture that downplays forgiveness. We live in a culture that mocks spouses for forgiving each other. We live in a culture that is quick to support you to get out of the marriage and for your own peace, for your own sanctity or whatever, at the expense of the covenant. Now, I'm speaking in general terms here. Your situation might be totally different. Maybe you're in a situation where staying doesn't make sense. I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking generally. That we live in a culture that is very quick to underestimate the power of forgiveness. In other words, when we have the option to choose between forgiveness and walking away, everybody in the crowd cheers walk away, walk away, walk away. You don't deserve that. And that is very, very sad, in my opinion, because there's so much power in forgiveness. There's so much power in saying, I hear what they're saying, and it makes sense for me to walk away because of what you've done. But I value this covenant that we have. I'm willing to forgive you. And seeing what that forgiveness is able to do in the life of the one who offended you. And truly, this is what marriage is about, right? This is what our relationship with Christ is about. If you really understand marriage as a Christian, we don't measure up before Christ, but consistently we are assured forgiveness. This is what gives us the boldness, the confidence, and even before those, the willingness and the desire to do what is right. There is so much power in forgiveness. And as I look at my mom now, telling me that, in spite of everything she's been through, that's powerful. I look at my mother-in-law, and she's telling us to forgive each other. They've seen something. They know something we don't know. And we're very quick to dismiss them. That generation. No. I don't think we should be that quick to mock the wisdom of our mothers, our grandmothers. Yes, maybe they endured a lot that we wouldn't even put ourselves through. But it doesn't take anything away from the virtues that they acquired through their marriage. If you're in a relationship, you're in marriage, be sincere and ask yourself, are you holding on to anything that you told yourself you were going to let go? Small, medium, big, it doesn't matter. Are you still holding on to something that you told yourself you were going to let go, or you sense in yourself you need to let go? Answer it sincerely, because the longer you hold on to that, the weightier it becomes. And the weightier it becomes, the wider the chasm between you and your spouse. That is exactly what the enemy wants. Drop a comment below. I would love to know how forgiveness has shown up in your life. And if this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear this. It's important. Shalom.